Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to take a look at asteroids again, focusing on a very particular group of them. So in a recent video, we looked at comets and asteroids as minor planets as a group. In this video, we're going to be looking at a couple of groups that are normally called asteroids rather than comets. And they are of particular interest because of how close they are to the Earth, or how close they can come to the Earth. One of the reasons I am talking about these objects in this video is the temporary moon 2024 PT5 that the Earth is getting. These objects that I'm about to discuss, these particular asteroids, they are likely to become temporary moons. They're likely to become quasi-satellites or otherwise end up bound to the Earth, usually temporarily. Our gravity will temporarily capture them. We don't usually get to keep them. So the asteroid PT5, 2024 PT5, that's an asteroid that is going to orbit the Earth just a couple of times before flying off again into space. And the reason that the Earth was able to capture this asteroid is because of how close it came to us, or how close it's going to come to us. And we can see that Venus is bright enough to be visible. We're looking down on the solar system here with the Solar System Observer location in Stellarium to see why these asteroids are important and how they come so close to the Earth. There we go, only for the selected object. First of all, that is not the planet Earth. It looks like the planet Earth has become invisible again. It's around there, so we'll search for it to bring it up, starting with Earth. There we go. So there's the Earth, and we can see the orbit that it takes around the Sun. And very quickly, I'll bring up Mars as well. So we can see Mars's orbit, just a little bit bigger. And if I click on Venus, you can see there's Venus's orbit. So we can see those three kind of concentric rings, even though they will keep disappearing as I select other objects. Starting with Apollo. So there are a couple of things called Apollo. Apollo is, of course, one of the names for Castor. There we go. This is the Apollo asteroid. And there are a whole class of asteroids named after Apollo. You can see that Apollo here gets pretty close to Venus, but its orbit is wide enough that it's able to cross the orbit of the Earth. So let's see if I can get it to remain. There we go. So that is the orbit of Apollo, and if I get up the orbit of the Earth, hopefully the orbit of Apollo will stick around. It didn't. But we could see there while one was fading away and another was popping up. Drag this off to the side, it might be a little bit easier. You can see that it's crossing the Earth's orbit. So Apollonian, or the group of asteroids named after the Apollo asteroid, the Apollonian group of asteroids, they are Earth-crossing asteroids. They're not the only ones, and they're not the only ones that can get quite close to the Earth. So we have the Apollonian asteroids. They spend a fair chunk of their time outside of the Earth's orbit, but they cross into the Earth's orbit as well. Their perihelion brings them across the Earth's orbit. I'll bring up the Earth again so that its orbit is there, and then here we go, asteroid Aten. So Aten is another Earth-crossing asteroid. Its orbit brings it inside the Earth's orbit. We can see it's passing quite close to Venus there in its orbit as well. So the Aten group is another group of Earth-crossing asteroids. So these are asteroids whose orbit crosses the orbit of the Earth. At some point, their orbit crosses the Earth's. There's a couple of other groups of very near Earth asteroids. So this is Amor, kind of like Eros or Cupid. Amor, the god of love. And so we can see that that orbit is bigger than the Earth's orbit, but it does come very close. So the Earth's orbit and Amor's orbit. Amor is a group of the Amor or Amoronian group of asteroids, are asteroids that have bigger orbits than the Earth's. They orbit the sun further, but still quite close to the Earth. Their orbit can get close to the Earth's. And finally, well, the orbit doesn't seem to come up for this particular one, even though it's definitely moving around the sun. But that is Atira, or Atira, and that asteroid is an asteroid whose orbit is completely inside the Earth's, pretty much, but who also comes quite close to the Earth. So we have the Atira asteroids, the Amor asteroids, and then we have the Apollo and the Aten asteroids. So these are all asteroids that are, generally speaking, near-Earth objects. They generally follow the Earth quite closely, and the asteroids that orbit inside the Earth's orbit or outside the Earth's orbit but can still pass close to us, the Earth can grab onto them with its gravity and they could follow us for a little bit before flying off again. There are asteroids that orbit the sun just outside the Earth's orbit, but they pretty much follow that. They'll come up just outside the Earth. They'll stay with us as we orbit the sun for a little while, but their speed doesn't match ours perfectly, and they'll eventually fly away again. Or we'll catch up to them, hang out around with them for a while, and then we'll speed off on our orbit. Sometimes they orbit more slowly than us. So those are all asteroids. The ones that stay inside the Earth's orbit and the ones that stay outside the Earth's orbit, they can come close to us. But even more interesting are the ones whose orbits cross ours, the Atenian and Apollonian asteroids. Those asteroids, their orbit crosses the Earth. So, of course, they have the potential to impact. Those are some of the asteroids that could potentially hit the Earth. Now, Carini doesn't have an orbit coming up for it either. Carini or Crinia. Crinia is a asteroid that's often called Earth's second moon as well, and I called it Earth's second moon in a previous video. If we move through time here, you can see that Carini is orbiting the sun, and it orbits the sun in a slightly more elliptical orbit than the Earth, but it does go around the sun just like we do. And we can see here, well, the Earth disappeared, but the Earth was catching up to Carini. They were having a reasonably close approach, and then Carini speeds off around the sun again. Because of Carini's strange orbit, because of how elliptical it is compared to ours, because it's faster at its perihelion and slower at its aphelion, because it slows down and speeds up again, it can end up coming reasonably close to the Earth, or I suppose the Earth can get reasonably close to it, sort of catching up like that. But then Carini speeds up again and ends up zipping around the sun, and influenced by the gravity of other planets like Venus and Mars as well, speeding it up and slowing it down. So at different times of the year, it can be more or less visible. Of course, we've gone through a few years here, but there's Carini at a reasonably close approach to the Earth out there in 2026. So we'll hop back to Ireland and see what it looks like. Where is the Earth here? There we go. So there we are, back on Earth, back in Ireland. Way in the future, of course, here, out in 2026. And it looks like Carini's been deselected, so let's fix that. There we go. So there is, whoa. There is Crinia, or Carini, as it would look from Ireland. It doesn't look, oh, we're getting something here. So magnitude 17.23, so definitely pretty faint, definitely not visible with the naked eye. But with a sufficiently big telescope, you might be able to see Carini. And we can see there, from us, it's only 100. Yeah, only 100 odd million kilometers away from us. And we can see as we move through time here, that number will increase as it flies around the sun. We can see it decreasing here as we move back in time as it comes a little closer to us. And then zooming away again as falling behind us, I suppose. Of course, moving backwards in time, that makes that look a little bit strange. This would be Carini kind of catching up to us, coming into its closest approach, and then flying away again around the sun. So we can look forward to that in 2026, another object that sometimes gets called Earth's second moon. Of course, the asteroid PT 5 will actually orbit us, even if it's only for a while, whereas Crinia or Creenie doesn't actually orbit us. It just passes pretty close. So I hope you enjoyed this video looking at a couple of different asteroids and where they move through space in honor of our temporary second moon. If you'd like to read some of this information, you can check that out on my website, queevinscontent.ie. If you did enjoy this video, please do like it, and you could subscribe to this YouTube channel if you'd like to see more. Hopefully, I'll see you back here next time.